is at the rail. There's an eighth of a mile to go. And Hottitude on the outside of Squared Shady, who's not done and fighting on. They're head and head for the wire. Squared Shady and Hottitude could go either way. Squared Shady, Hottitude on the outside. Photo finish. It is absolutely too close to call. It's either Squared Shady or Hottitude. That bob could have gone either way. Third between Clean Karma and Big Hopes, then Bella. $1,322.30. In the gate. And they're off. California GG bounces out quickly. So does Lucielle and Issa Court. Three of them vying for the lead. And Roses Are Blue gets a little bit of a nudge to join the party early, leaving Beachgrass at the back of the field. It's Issa Court narrowly in front. Lucielle is 3/4, now a full length behind in second. Then comes Roses Are Blue taking third. California GG is down at the rail, about 2.5 or so off the lead, and a gap of 5 to an unhurried Beachgrass. They swing onto the backstretch, and it's heavily favored Issa Court, leading the way by about 3/4 of a length. Roses Are Blue on the outside, Lucielle one from the rail, and California GG in the white colors. Gap of a half dozen or so back to Beachgrass. Issa Court, with a half mile left to go, leads by a half length. Lucy L is in second. California GG, Roses Are Blue, 4 wide throughout. Still a distance to Beachgrass. Moving into the far turn, Issa Court is the leader. Pressed throughout by Lucielle. Lucielle still within a half length of Issa Court. And now it's almost a full length once again. Issa Court, Lucielle from the back of the field. Beachgrass is starting to kick in and moving into third. They're a 1/4 mile from home. Issa Court, Lucy L, and Beachgrass looming 4 lengths behind, hugging the rail and trying to close the gap. There's an eighth of a mile to go. Issa Court pestered by Lucy L. Issa Court maintaining the lead. Lucy L making her work and coming right now on the outside. Lucy L, Issa Court coming for the wire together. Issa Court digging in. Lucy L just shifting in a touch, and Issa Court proves best. Prevailing by a half length, she had to work to get it. Lucielle was second best, Beachgrass third. And Mitzi's expressed in the Halas colors. And they're off. A very fast start for Mitzi's Express on the far outside. Now Going Mobile is quicker and opens up a length and a half. Last Call London is down at the rail. Thirsty Gambler is next. Rough beginning for I Will Be King. And Thirsty Thursday is far behind. It's Going Mobile cruising around the far turn with a 2-length advantage. Last Call London looking for racing room on the inside of Mitzi's Express. Those three right across the track with a 1/4 mile to go. Thirsty Gambler has 6 lengths to make up. 3/16 from home. Going Mobile just in front. Last Call London chasing gamely from second, and Mitzi's Express on the outside. Final furlong, Going Mobile with plenty left in the tank, opening up for an authoritative win. Right out of the gate, he shot out of there and waved goodbye. Going Mobile by 5 easy lengths. Mitzi's Express completes the Steve Knapp exacta. Then it was Last Call London finishing third. 6 off the lead. Happy Happy second to last, and Saria at the back of the field. It's Creatively and Luminiferous. 1-2 into the first turn with Magic Light tracking third. They're followed by Ankira fourth, 7 lengths off the pace now. Joined on the outside by Marina's Tina, racing 2 in front of Happy Happy and Saria at the back of proceedings. It's Creatively onto the backstretch, leading the way 3/4 of a length. Luminiferous keeping her company with Magic Light in third. Marina's Tina advancing without being asked to do so. And down at the rail, it's Ankira, followed by Happy Happy will go 3 wide. Sariha continues to trail. Not much change in the running order. Creatively is the boss into the far turn. Luminiferous, now it's 6 lengths back to the next flight. Marina's Tina called on, takes third on the outside of Magic Light. Then Happy Happy and Kira losing a little bit of ground, 4 clear of Sariha. They're approaching the quarter pole. Creatively, Luminiferous, 3 back. Marina's Tina threatening third, followed by Magic Light, Happy Happy, and Ankira. They're at the top of the stretch. Marina's Tina trying to find a spot, decides to go to the outside. In the meantime, Magic Light, Resurgent, diving down toward the inside of Luminiferous, who's hanging tough. Luminiferous, Magic Light on the inside, trying to squeeze through the narrowest of openings and doing so. And Magic Light, beautifully ridden to victory. Luminiferous was second, 3-way photo for third among Marina's Tina, Ankira, and Happy Happy. Pelagio, the third choice at 3-1, takes up his spot, and the favorite Yellow Brick. And they're off. Smooth beginning. Blue Dog is quickest, flat on, hustled up on the inside, and Yellow Brick came away in the top flight too. Then it's 17 Black on the outside of Text the Legend, El Perfecto, and stretch running. Pelagio is allowed to relax through the opening furlongs. It's flat on just in front, rounding the first turn, with Blue Dog a half length, now a full length behind in second. Text the Legend at the rail. Yellow Brick is fourth with 3 to make up, 6 furlongs from the money. Then it's 17 Black in fifth between horses, racing 2 in front of El Perfecto, and Pelagio has 7 to make up. 5 furlongs to run. Flat on, Blue Dog up alongside in second. A length and a half, Yellow Brick, Text the Legend, 17 Black in between them. El Perfecto, Pelagio inches up willingly outside of him. They're covered by 4 with a half mile to run. It's flat on the speed throughout, prompted by Blue Dog. Yellow Brick wide, making his move now. It's a 3 wide bid within about a length and a half of the pace. Text the Legend is next. 17 Black, Pelagio, and tailing off El Perfecto. Flat on, Blue Dog, Yellow Brick, Pelagio 4 wide coming to the quarter pole. Yellow Brick makes a nice move on the outside as the field turns for home. Blue Dog, Yellow Brick to the front. Pelagio has a clear path after him. Flat on down on the inside, a furlong left to go, and Yellow Brick leads a length and a half. Blue Dog is very game and coming right back. And here comes Blue Dog. What a performance out of him. And he rips the heart out of Yellow Brick late. Blue Dog wins it going away. Yellow Brick second. Tight photograph for third between Pelagio and Flat On. It's another photo behind them between 17 Black and Text the Legend. They're out to the outside. They're in the gate. And they're off in the Santa Barbara. Queen of the Temple broke beautifully. Exit Soul along the inside is up to take the lead. Duvet Day moves up to take third. Then Scarabea fourth as they run down the hill, only about 4 lengths off the lead. Sese is just outside of her, and another 2 back to Zayarat. Moving toward the main course, and it's Exit Soul, the pacemaker by a length and a half to Queen of the Temple second. Duvet Day, Sese right together. Scarabea fifth, 4.5 off the lead, and then Zayarat as they come onto the course now. And it is Kent DeSormo and Exit Soul just galloping along comfortably. Queen of the Temple is under a nice hold in second. Then comes Duvet Day, red cap at the rail. An early bid from Zayarat, inching up on the outside of Sese, leaving Scarabea 5 lengths off front running Exit Soul. Exit Soul in front. Long shot Zayarat moves into second. Queen of the Temple cruising along in third. Sese is fourth. Duvet Day back to fifth. 5 or 6 off the lead. And Scarabea at the back. Into the clubhouse turn, it's Exit Soul in front now, widening again to be in front almost 3 lengths. With Zayarat into second, Queen of the Temple still under a tight hold, Sese just outside of her. Duvet Day and Scarabea. There's been no change in the running order other than that move from Zayarat as Exit Soul tries to sprint away now. It's a 4-length advantage. Zayarat is in second, Queen of the Temple now by herself in third, as Sese in the green colors fourth, has lost just a touch of ground, about 8 lengths off the leader. Duvet Day gets a little bit of a push down on the inside of Scarabea. Rounding the far turn, Exit Soul, no turning back now. 3.5 length advantage on Zayarat in second. Queen of the Temple, Sese right next to her again. Duvet Day has a lot of ground to make up on the inside of Scarabea. Quarter to go. They're coming after Exit Soul. Queen of the Temple threatening to run a big race, and she's going to split rivals now at the top of the lane. Exit Soul, Queen of the Temple. On the inside, Duvet Day, Sese. Final furlong. Exit Soul, Queen of the Temple right to her, and Duvet Day is closing late. Queen of the Temple hits the front. Duvet Day, a final surge. Queen of the Temple. Queen of the Temple has won the Santa Barbara under a perfect ride from Joe Bravo. She ran to her looks today. Duvet Day hard charging with Exit Soul. Thunder. And they're off. Very even beginning. Ultimate Gamble, Ghazali. Here's Mastering now moving up, as is Got Thunder. So those two go on. Mastering, Got Thunder will duel into the first turn, and Got Thunder just sprints away from him. Mastering will settle in second, and tracking the pacemaker. Ultimate Gamble ended up 3 wide, but he wants no part of sitting back. He's coming right after Got Thunder and takes the lead again. So it's Ultimate Gamble, Got Thunder, 1-2 with 6 furlongs to run. Katona, 1.5 off them. Mastering gets covered up. And then a gap to Zimba Warrior and Ghazali. Down the back stretch, Ultimate Gamble and Hall of Famer Mike Smith on the outside. Got Thunder, Kyle Frey down at the rail. They're stride for stride. 2 lengths clear of Katona and Mastering. Another 5 lengths back, Zimba Warrior inside of Ghazali. Got Thunder has been stubborn so far, not yielding to Ultimate Gamble heading to the 3/8 pole. Katona on the outside, a close third. Mastering right with him. Big gap to the 2 trailers. They've been far back throughout, both Zimba Warrior and Ghazali. Ultimate Gamble has his head just in front, coming to the quarter pole. Got Thunder keeping pace, but now Ultimate Gamble lets it out a notch. Comes to the top of the lane with a length in front. Mastering moves to engage him. And on the outside, Katona's been in at every step. Mastering takes the lead with a furlong left to go. Ultimate Gamble at the rail, not done. He's fighting on. Katona 4 back in third. It's Mastering, Ultimate Gamble. Mastering is just in front, coming to the wire, and it's going to be Mastering. Outgaming Ultimate Gamble. Katona third. Zimba Warrior was fourth. Quattroel to the outside. They're in the gate. And they're off. Quattroel stumbled pretty badly in his last. Canoodling breaks out alertly and will vie for the lead with Very Scary. Those two have sprinted clear early on. Thunder Run moves to take third. Macadamia now fourth. Then Closing Remarks, fifth, 7 or 8 off the pace, and 2 more to Quattroel. The pace is very honest as Canoodling sprints clear by 3. Very Scary is second by about the same margin, and then it's Macadamia Thunder Run right together. Closing Remarks under a nice hold, 8 lengths off the leaders, and another 3 back to Quattroel. It's Canoodling heading toward the half-mile pole with a 2.5 length advantage. Very Scary second. DeSormo just peeked back, and he sees Thunder Run in third on the outside of Macadamia as they've passed the half-mile pole. 2 more, Closing Remarks yet to do her best running, and Quattroel is 2 behind her. It's Canoodling in front, a length and a half to Very Scary rounding the far turn. 4 more lengths to Macadamia. Closing Remarks officially underway now. 6 off the lead, gathering good momentum. Then comes Quattroel in the red colors as Thunder Run is last, top of the stretch. It's Canoodling in front. Closing Remarks angles to the center of the course as Quattroel comes through between them. Macadamia. Quattroel is finishing with a flourish as Macadamia takes the lead. Macadamia, Quattroel, Macadamia 2-length lead and running very strongly to the wire, and it's going to be Macadamia and Tiago Pereira to win the Wilshire. Quattroel second. Then it was a photo between Very Scary, Closing Remarks, and then Canoodling. In the 9th, we start the golden hour. Was not in the gate at that point. He is now. And they're off. Moose Mitchell, very quick out of the gate. Here comes Super Chief along the inside, and Super Chief suddenly dueling with My Man Bag. So these two go on, and Moose Mitchell will sit in a stalking position, 2 off the pace in third. It's then another 3 back to Stay in the Game, who races on the inside of Smile for Glory, and Golf Drama is at the back of the field. My Man Bags with a half mile to travel, leads by a length over Moose Mitchell. Super Chief now back to third. Then Smile for Glory, fourth, 3 lengths off the lead. Stay in the Game next, another 4 to Golf Drama. 3 furlongs out, My Man Bags, Moose Mitchell coming after him second. 2 more, Super Chief at the rail third. Then Smile for Glory pushed along fourth, 4 lengths off the lead. Stay in the Game. Golf Drama trying to pick it up outside of him. Moose Mitchell's had a perfect trip, pouncing on My Man Bags at the top of the stretch and opening up, coming to the 8th pole. The Moose is loose with a furlong left to go, and he is well clear. Moose Mitchell and Umberto Rispoli just cruising through the stretch with nice strides, opening up for an authoritative 7 or 8 length win. Super Chief gets second in front of My Man Bags, then Stay in the Game. We're in the gate. And they're off. Carson Jen rockets out to the lead. Irresistible Force has some speed. Socially Smart now moves up to take second. Here's Foolish, eager in the early stages, now up to claim third as they get up and onto the main course. Then it's Unjokeable, 5 lengths off the pace. Irresistible Force, who broke well, is just behind her, followed by Free and Humble inside strikingly. It's then a gap of 3 back to Lapeer, racing on the inside of Jeho, 4 lengths back to Jensko, and Rockin' to the Boss is at the back of the field. Into the far turn, Carson Jen has a lonely lead. It's a 2.5 length lead. In second is Socially Smart. Down at the rail, Foolish in third, followed by Unjokeable fourth. Irresistible Force, 6 lengths off the pace, followed on the inside by Free and Humble. From the back of the field, Jensko is starting to roll. Shadow Roll far outside as they're at the top of the stretch. And Foolish is moving up on the outside and has taken the lead. opening up 3 lengths in a hurry. In the center of the course, coming late, is Irresistible Force in the red colors. Just in front of her, Strikingly, trying to get to Foolish late. Foolish 3-length lead, and Foolish holds on over a hard-charging Strikingly. And in behind them, it was a battle that involved Free and Humble, who looked to get third. Also in that mix, Socially Smart and Irresistible Force.
Hey, everybody, and happy Kentucky Oaks Days. 14 fillies are going to run underneath the Twin Spires at Churchill Downs at 2:51 p.m. Pacific time in order to win the Kentucky Oaks. We'll find out who that is. And, of course, we've got a good 9-race card here at the Great Race Place. Do you know what a parlay is? A parlay is basically when you make one bet and parlay all the winnings onto the next bet. If you bet $20 to win on a horse at 4-1 and you get back $100, you don't put any of that money in your pocket. You parlay it right back onto another horse. And if you win, all of a sudden your $20 turns into maybe $500, $600. Well, our guest today, in my opinion, he turned the greatest parlay in racing history. We're going to find out what his story is. It's my pleasure to welcome in my good friend today, Chuck Baldini. Chucky B, welcome to the seminar. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. Thank you for having me on there, Tom.
It's great to be with you, Chuck. Now, the date was June 28th, 1997. That's an easy date to remember because, believe it or not, you will remember this. Mike Tyson bit Evander Holyfield's ear in Las Vegas in a boxing match. That's how we remember that day. But you and I remember it because you and I played in a Los Alamitos tournament. I'm guessing there were maybe 200 people playing in the 2-day tournament.
I think so, yeah.
And I think we put up between $200 and $500.
I think it was 400, if I recall, but 26 years, you know, the memory goes.
But the best memory doesn't fade at all. And you wound up actually winning that tournament. And we tell this story all the time down in the paddock at Del Mar. But how much did you win?
$60,000.
You won $60,000. And what'd you do
Got
with
a big check.
And it cleared the bank.
And it cleared the bank, and they didn't take taxes out.
Now you have children, and at that point in time, your wife and the children, your wife, of course, you're still married to, and your children, they were in middle school, so you were worried about their higher education. So you said, you know what, I'm going to invest this $60,000, and what you decided to do was invest it in real estate. And you know what? What you did was you went down to Del Mar and you kind of killed two birds with one stone. You said, I'm a horse player. I like to play the races, but at the same time, I want my wife and young kids to be able to enjoy the beach. So you looked for a beach shack.
I did.
And you found a beach shack.
I found a beach shack.
In the city of Del Mar.
In Del Mar, 2 blocks off the beach, right down.
Was it 14th Street?
Coast, right off Coast, yeah. Santa Fe Avenue was the street, but that's irrelevant.
And how big was the place? It was small.
It was small. It was like 900 square feet.
Wow.
It was a shack, or truly a shack that they just, I think, brought from somewhere and plotted down on this piece of land.
And what did it cost you? $300,000?
$350,000, if you can believe that.
So what you did was you used the $60,000 winnings and you used it as a down payment on the beach shack, the 900 square foot beach shack.
That's right. That was the down payment.
And you put some money into it, of course, trying to improve
we tried
it.
To fix it up and put a garage in, and just made it livable.
And you spent a lot of summers down there with the family. You'd go to the track, and the kids would go to the beach.
We did, and prices started going crazy. As people might know, this was before the crash in like 2010. So running up to that.
What year did you decide, you know what, I think I'm going to take my winnings and run?
2007. So I had it for about 10 years.
10 years.
And we were down there. We rented a little bit, but I thought at least, let's cash out. Let's make some money.
So you invested $60,000. Of course, you had to pay the mortgage. You made some home improvements, yada, yada, yada. Right. Yeah. But basically 10 years later, what'd you sell it for?
$2 million.
$2 million. So you turned $60,000 into $2 million. But again, your end goal not only was to have some fun, but also use the proceeds from that sale in order to pay for your kids' college education.
Yeah, that money, it just looked too good at the time to take some money off the table, and, college coming up. We bought some rental properties. So it was, we
Your
turned
kids
that
didn't
into
go
a
to
bigger
Harvard, right?
investment.
They didn't go to Harvard. It didn't cost $2 million.
No, they didn't go to Harvard. So yeah, we paid off some debt, put some money in my pocket for racing purposes, of course. But yeah, it turned out, I never expected that when we decided to buy it, but it just, things happened and you look like a genius.
Now, it begs the question, have you looked at real estate values lately? Have you looked at that specific property, that lot in the year 2023? And do you have any idea what the current value might be?
Probably 3 to 3.5 million. So
any seller's remorse?
Of course, you always think about that, but it's just like betting. You say, "Oh, I should have had more on that horse."
Of course.
Oh, I should have done this.
The less you bet, the more you lose when you win.
Right. You can't take the win and be happy. It's like, oh, I should have bought 2 properties. I should, but we're very happy with how it turned out, and it probably helped me to retire a little bit early.
You were in corporate America at the time, working a white collar job, so to speak.
Yes, commercial finance and lending, but I am retired now, so that's good.
Now, you've always been a horse player. How'd you get introduced to the game? I don't think I've ever asked you that question. What was your very first time you came to the racetrack? Was it with friends? Was it family? Did you stumble in here by yourself?
Probably the very first bet I made was a $2 daily double when I think I was 13. We lived back east. We lived in New Jersey.
Statute of limitations have run out by now.
Yeah. My dad and his friends used to go to the track every week.
So he was a horse player. He corrupted you.
Yeah, he got me into it. And then when we moved out here, of course, went to all the tracks out here, Santa Anita, Del Mar, Hollywood Park. So he got me probably fully corrupted by about 15, 16.
What is it about guys who are in corporate America that like to be weekend warriors? In other words, what's the escape? What is it that the racetrack offers you when you were working that kind of lets you get away from reality?
Yeah, it's just a fun, I'm a recreational player. I don't try to like grind out a living or try to make, money every time I go. It's fun. It's interesting trying to find, something that other people don't see. It's really good game for the mind. And of course, you always run into a bunch of great people. Like, I got to meet Tom
and many others, by the way,
tournament and others.
Jeff Sotman, God rest his soul, and Chris Fosselman, the well-known worldwide ice cream establisher and proprietor.
Yeah. So yeah, the people. It's a fun outlet, and yeah, and so Saturdays and Sundays are my time at the track,
and Fridays is our time to have you as a guest as well. Before we take a break, Chuck, I just see their daily racing form opened up in front of you. You said you're a recreational player, but when you crack open the racing form, you've done the work. What are some of the things you look for? Like, are you looking at speed figures? Are you looking for hidden angles? You watch a lot of race replays. Like, what goes into you handicapping a day's card?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I look at a number of things. Trying to find value, which I think a lot of people do. But looking at buyers, looking at horses that may be coming up to a race. I like horses that are maybe second or third off a little bit of a layoff. Look at workouts, not necessarily for speed, but just to see for consistency. Look at trainers and jockeys. It's kind of esoteric. There's just a lot that I look at. I don't have a specific formula. I like some angles, like first-time 4-year-olds, especially on turf. I like bigger field races that I look for, turf routes, with full fields. So yeah, there's just, and then a lot of times it comes down to gut. You like the name. That might sound crazy, but you throw in some of those extra funky horses that maybe you wouldn't handicap. Just for fun, because to me it's fun. I keep it low key. I'm not, I'm still a cheap bettor, betting small, pick 3s and pick 4s, win place. So yeah, it's just I've been able to do it for 50 years and it hasn't busted me. So it's it's good.
Bet a little to win a lot. That's Chuck Baldini's motto. He proved it in the greatest parlay in racing, in my opinion. He turned $60,000 into over $2 million in one transaction. If you've had a better parlay in racing, please let me know about it. We're going to take a quick break, toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramati, get the scratches, which are, unfortunately, a bit extensive because we are off the turf here today at the Great Race Place. We'll get those scratches. Once we do, we'll come back, find out who Chuck likes on today's 9-race card here at the Great Race Place.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the Great Race Place. Here are the early changes. The track is fast. We are off the turf today. Several scratches on the card. Here they come. In the first, start of the 50-cent early pick 5, scratch numbers 1, Peppermint Flirt, 2, Slam Diego, and 3, Violet Storm. Scratch 1, 2, and 3. Number 4, Classy Mademoiselle, carries 1 pound over. There's no high 5 wagering, no show wagering either. It does begin the early pick 5. Santa Anita Park odds maker John White has put out a revised morning line. Race 2 begins the early pick 4. We have a super high 5 carryover from last week of $6,545. No changes in race 2. The third race, off the turf, no high 5 wagering with the scratch of number 7, Too Much Heaven. Number 7, Too Much Heaven. Out of race 3, there is a revised morning line. The fourth starts the Rainbow 6 on races 4 through 9. That jackpot has reached $277,000 for a single ticket winner. No changes. Turning to the fifth. Off the turf, the Corey Nakatani Hall of Fame purse. Santa Anita Park celebrates Corey Nakatani getting into the Hall of Fame in race number 5. And there are no changes. In the 6, scratch 1, True Hood, scratch 2, Midnight Fury. 1 and 2 are out. There is a revised morning line issued by John White. 7th race, no high 5 wagering, off the turf, main track, scratch 1, Thunderheart, scratch 5, Inch, scratch 7, Westward Look, and scratch number 9, Crew Dragon. 1, 5, 7, and 9 are out of the 7th race. There is a revised morning line. 8th race begins the golden hour pick 4. No changes. 9th race off the turf, we have the program scratch of Miss Moab. Scratch number 7, Warrior Lady. Note that both number 10 and 11 will now draw in and participate in the 9th, which starts the golden hour double. Enjoy your day here at Santa Anita Park. The best parties west of Kentucky right here tomorrow. Plenty of options, which we will get into detail later on. But in a nutshell, we hope to have you here tomorrow to enjoy Kentucky Derby Day from Santa Anita Park. Let's get back to Quigley's Corner. His seminar guest today is Chuck Baldini.
Welcome back. We're talking horses with Chuck Baldini. He is a horse player who had a parlay back in 1997 that I defy you to meet a person who turned less money into more money. He won a handicapping tournament on June 28th, 1997. He won the first place prize of $60,000. He was foresightful enough to go down to Del Mar and buy a piece of real estate. 10 years later, he sold it for $2 million. So it's our pleasure to have him today. He's been playing the horses for over 50 years as a recreational player. And Chucky, before we take a look at today's 9-race card, of course, the Kentucky Oaks is taking center stage here, at least nationwide for horse players. We've got a big field here, no scratches of 14. A lot of different ways you can go in the Kentucky Oaks, which goes off at 2:51 p.m. Pacific time. Which way you going, Chuck?
Yeah, I thought this was a great betting race. There's, of course, wet paint is going to get a lot of play, and it looks really good. But 3-year-old fillies can bounce around and change their form quickly. So I'm going to look for a price. My first selection is number 5 horse Wonder Wheel with Joel Rosario. I look back at it, that past race, and she looked a little flat in that Ashland. So I think she can bounce back. May get a decent price, although Rosario always kind of hammers the odds down a little bit.
She's 12-1 on the morning line. That's our type of price.
Yeah, I like that. So, and Gaffleon goes to another horse, but no loss there with Rosario. So I like him on top, but there's a lot of possibilities in here. So
and speaking of Tyler Gaffleon, the jockey, he actually winds up on your second selection, number 14, Pretty Mischievous,
right,
who drew the outside post. She is 10-1 on the morning line, another daughter of Into Mischief. Both of your selections are daughters of Into Mischief. What'd you like about Pretty Mischievous?
6 for 6 in the money, 4 wins. You can't knock that. Brendan Walsh has had been good lately. Been watching some of the races from Keeneland, so I like him as a trainer in this spot. Horse has got speed, which looks, based on some of the early races, you're going to need to be close up. So I like that one too. It should be a good price. From the outside, might get a little bit ignored there too. So. Yeah.
5 and 14. So says our seminar guest, Chuck Baldini, in the Kentucky Oaks at Churchill Downs, which goes off at 2:51 p.m. Pacific time. All right, let's come back to Santa Anita. As you heard Frank Miramonti describe, we are off the turf today here at Santa Anita, and race 1 begins the 50-cent early pick 5. There are 3 scratches in race number 1. Scratch the inside 3 runners. 1, 2, and 3 will not compete. That leaves us with a field of 4. The revised morning line favorite and the current betting choice from the Phil D'Amato barn is number 7, Busker Alley. And of course, race 1 begins the popular 50-cent early pick 5. Just a field of 4, Chucky B, but who do you like and why?
Field of 4. Can't find a whole lot of value here. I went with the 6 just because you get a little bit of something. You get 3-1. Horse is 1 for 16, so you can't love that, but so is the favorite. So I went with 6 just to, maybe get just a little bit better action. Coming off a claim by the trainer. So I think this is a good spot. And with the short field, anybody can win this.
Sweet Heidelberg takes blinkers off, and trainer Lorenzo Ruiz, although it's a small sample, if you see in the racing form, 6 times he's taken the blinkers off, 2 times he's emerged victorious with a positive ROI. So currently, Sweet Heidelberg, 3-1 on the tote board, perhaps represents value if you can beat number 7, Busker Alley. Race number 2 begins the 50-cent early pick 4. Also, race 2 has a super high 5 carryover. Nobody hit it in the 10th race on Sunday. Therefore, the super high 5 carryover will carry over into race number 2 today. That amount is $6,000, and we're sprinting 6 furlongs on the main track. Fillies and mares in for a $10,000 claiming tag. By the way, the main track is listed as fast today. The moisture was somewhat minimal, but nevertheless, it necessitated scratches off the turf. We've got a field of 7 in race number 2, and Rain Diva from the Andrew Harris barn with Edwin Maldonado in the saddle is 5-2 on John White's morning line. Who do you like in race 2 and why, Chucky?
I went with the 1 here. The horse has got 6 wins. This is a cheap race, 10,000 claimers. You got some Los Alamitos horses sneaking into here. I generally don't like those coming to Santa Anita. 4-1, a little bit of price with these short fields. Not going to typically get what I like. I like to try to find horses in the 8 to 12 range, but you got to handicap what's in front of you. So I like the 1. And the jockey's having a decent meet so far. So, that's where I landed.
Number 1, Righteously Trained by Jeff Mullins, ridden by Hector Barrios. As Chucky mentioned, Hector Barrios and Jeff Mullins both having good meets when they team up together over the last year or so. They're winning at a 28% win clip, again, with a positive ROI. So certainly Righteously could represent value in race number 2 at morning line odds of 4-1. Before we take a look at race number 3, Chucky, a question for you. You obviously had a lot of success in that tournament at Los Alamitos back in 1997. You put up roughly $400 to win $60,000. I don't know how often now you play play in tournaments, but you've been talking about value so far during the seminar. Tournaments also represent value, right? You don't have to beat the entire world. You just have to beat the field that you're competing against, and there's no takeout. And usually the prize money, as you experienced, is very, very good.
Yeah, you'd think I'd be playing a lot of tournaments after a big win. And I did back then play a few. Part of the winnings was an entry into a Vegas tournament out at I think it was the Orleans.
Sure. Horse Player World Series, maybe.
Yeah. And then LaSalle had another tournament later that year I played in. Did nothing in either of those tournaments.
You were a busy man at that point in your life, right? You had 3 kids you had to raise. You were working a corporate job. I mean, tournaments sometimes are a luxury.
Yeah, and sometimes they're a little steep for me. Like I said, I'm still a bit of a cheapskate.
$2 million in your pocket, still a cheapskate.
You know, 400, 500 entry for some of the tournaments. You know, I figure I just use that money as a bankroll. But so I play, I play some small stuff. Like during the week, maybe I'll play some of the feeders on Express Bet.
What about our $40 tournament that we have on Saturday and Sunday? That's a good value tournament.
Yeah, it is. And I play that one. I like that format. That's fun and it's inexpensive. And
you're not going to get, murdered if you come home with nothing.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I wouldn't be, you can't call me a tournament player. I don't play that often. Maybe I should. And
you should, as a matter of fact. And you've used the word social and fun a lot as well. And that's really what the racetrack experience is all about. A lot of people are watching from home or maybe at a casino or OTB, but there's nothing like duplicating and replicating and having as much fun than if you actually come to the on-track facility and mingle with your friends and have a good time.
Absolutely. I still bet at home and online, but got to come out. You got to get out of the house. Yeah, I still like coming up here.
You're from New Jersey. You ever get a chance to go back to Monmouth Park?
I've been to Monmouth Park. I've been to Aqueduct, Belmont.
How about Freehold, the harness track near Monmouth?
Not Freehold. Meadowlands for harness.
Yeah.
I've been to a few East Coast tracks. I've been to a couple Belmonts, but never Kentucky Derby. Maybe that's something I should be doing, but it's gotten crazy over the years. I think it used to be a better experience, way back when.
It's an acquired taste, that's for sure. What you do have to do, Chucky B, is tell us who you like in race number 3. We're sprinting on the main track. 6 furlongs is the distance for fillies and mares, $32,000 claimers. Scratch the original morning line favorite number 7, Too Much Heaven, has been declared out of the race. Leaves us with a field of 6, and now the revised morning line favorite at 8-5 is number 3, Ute Your Honor from the Latimer Seren Barn, ridden by Kent DeSormo. Give us a winner in race 3.
Yeah, I was looking at this race trying to find where the speed might be, and I think the 6 might be sneaky speed. I think there's this. The 7 was the only other one, and she scratched out. So I think the 6 is going to go to the front and hopefully wire him at a good price.
10-1 on the morning line, second off the layoff, first time Lasix, and take a look who rides. Edwin Maldonado in the saddle, of course, with the morning line, original morning line favorite being scratched. Professor's Pride price will be lower, but there are some things to like for trainer Eddie Truman. We also see you like the rail mare, I should say, number 1, Flat Out Joy from the Chuck Treese barn. I have a feeling maybe you've rubbed shoulders with Chuck Treese over at Los Alamitos through the years.
Yes, I know Chuck, and a friend of mine, Tom mentioned earlier, Chris Fosselman, had horses with him, and still does every now and then. So I know Chuck. He can get a winner up here, so that doesn't bother me. That he's a LaSalle guy for the most part. So yeah, as a second choice, horses got 5 wins in the money. Legitimate hitting the board.
Owner, trainer Chuck Treese, we should say as well. And Chuck Baldini, I should say, mentioned that Flat Out Joy has 5 career wins. If you take a closer look, you'll see that all 5 career wins actually came on a fast main track, which is the surface that we're running over today. Race number 4 begins the 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6, the jackpot single ticket carryover, now up to $277,000. That amount, plus whatever is wagered today, will be yours if you're the only winning ticket in the 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6 sequence. And we kick things off here in race number 4. sprinting 7 furlongs on the main track. Starter optional claiming race. We've got a field of 6. Number 3, Deservedly, who was impressive last time out in victory for trainer Mark Ladd, is the 2-1 morning line favorite. Before we get your thoughts on the race, Chuck, I want to show actually a head-on replay for number 4, Big Hat Willie. If you have the racing form in front of you, before we show it, take a look at Big Hat Willie. Broke from post position number 8, and also Big Hat Willie is a maiden running against boys. The reason why I wanted to show the head-on replay where there will be no audio is the trouble line in the past performances do no justice to the trouble that Big Hat Willie had this particular day. I'm not at all inferring that Big Hat Willie is going to win today, but at the same time, I do think his trouble was significant. So let's watch that. Let's watch that head-on replay for Big Hat Willie and watch him break out of post position number 8. Now, post position number 8 is the jockey with what I would call the orange silks on. He's in between horses here. He's already been bumped around a few times. He's going to get bumped around a lot more here as well as they come onto the main portion of the main track. He's getting bumped around so badly here that you'll see the jockey, who that day was Flavien Prat, decides to pull him up and basically go to the outside where he has a clear path. Now, the fact that he went to the clear path on the outside, you can count as well as I can, but he's got to be 8 wide going down the backside. Think of all the significant trouble he's losing. He had trouble at the start. Now he's caught wide. Flavian's in no man's land. He can't get down anywhere close to the rail, so he's stuck in this position. So Big Hat Willie in a big field of 10 is caught. Look, take a look again. He's in those orange silks on the far outside. Flavian's somewhat trying to be patient with him, but he knows at the same time he's losing a ton of ground. Now, as they turn for home, they're at the top of the turn right now. As they turn for home, he's unfortunately, Big Hat Willie and Flavien Prat are going to encounter more trouble. He seems to be like a magnet. More jockeys are going to basically knock on him and hit on him. And you'll see right now, he's still on the outside here. And you can see this horse, and I would call it the orange silks, who's getting hit left-handed. He's going to come out and knock Big Hat Willie a few times as well, just to basically, let him know that he's there. And lo and behold, what does Big Hat Willie do? It's hard to see on the head-on shot, but he rallies and actually finishes second to the winner. And in my opinion, considering the ground lost and the amount of bumping incidents that he had to incur during that 6.5 furlong race, Chucky, I thought at least it was a much better race when you look at that head-on replay than what you see on paper. Having done that long dissertation, I know that you're looking at a different horse in race 4, Chuck.
Yeah, no, and if I'd have looked at that, I might have had a different opinion, because I did look at that horse, and I did note that, maiden against winners usually not a thing I like to do, but again, you got another short field for the most part, and not any secretariats in here. And
some layoff runners, and like you said, some horses that their class is questionable. But you do like number 5, Quick Buck, who is returning off the layoff. What do you like about Quick Buck?
I do like the fact that this one is a first-time 4-year-old. I like that angle. They've grown up a year, and they tend to run sometimes good off on that first run. It's been routing last year, and I like routes cutting back to 7 rather than 6 furlong horses moving out. So I like that. And he threw in an 84 buyer at Santa Anita last year. So again, looking for just a little bit of value in a short field. Got a bug boy up, so I went that direction. After that replay, I might have put Big Hat Willie in second as my second choice, but
well, I certainly I won't talk you off your pick. And here's one of the reasons why, Chuck. Quick Buck actually broke his maiden on debut. So we know he runs well fresh. And like you said, he's in for the $50,000 tag. He's a router cutting back to an elongated sprint. There are a lot of things to like. In my opinion, even though it's just a field of 6, you could kind of make a case for all 6, including Trusty Rusty, who's coming back on quick rest for trainer Doug O'Neill. It's a more competitive race than what it would appear on paper. Race number 5 begins the 50-cent late pick 5. This is off the turf course. Also take note, it's named in honor of jockey Corey Nakatani, who was recently inducted into the Hall of Fame. The race is named the Corey Nakatani Hall of Fame Purse. I'm sure we'll see Corey on track today. In race number 5, we're going 1 mile on the main track for Calbred. Allowance optional claiming types, non-winners of 1 other than. A field of 6, and the favorite down on the bottom, number 6. Talk less, work more, which is my motto in life, is the 2-1 morning line favorite. Who do you like in race 5, Chuck?
Well, I guess I'm going against my my own handicapping theories. I was looking, since it's off the turf, the 6, he's going to be the chalk. looks like he has the best of the dirt form.
But sometimes you have to admit that the favorite is probably the most likely winner, right? As much as it pains us because we're always trying to beat the favorites do win 33% of the time. And so it's always sexy to try and beat them, but occasionally you have to throw up your hands and say, you know what, I can't beat this horse.
Yeah. And, you know, if you're playing pick threes, pick fours, you know, you can throw in a favorite and you'll still get some value. The other horse I liked a little bit was the 2 Clouseau. He's got 2 wins. Second off, a little bit of a layoff. You know, distance might be a question, but I thought that one was worth a look. But you know, 6 is my top pick.
6 and 2 in race number 5. Couple additional comments on number 2, Clouseau. Clouseau adds Lasix back today. Last time out, couldn't use Lasix in a stakes race. You'll see he's 2 for 2 adding Lasix. He's also turned into a different racehorse when they took the blinkers off 3 races back as well. And take a look at his running lines in his last race. Kangaroo Court and Bus Buzz would basically be 1 to 9 in this field. The fact that he finished third to those 2 animals that day certainly does him no disgrace. Clouseau is 4 to 1 on the morning line. Certainly looks to be live in race number 5. Race number 6 begins the 50-cent late pick 4. This looks to be a good maiden special weight race for runners traveling 6 furlongs in the main track. The inside 2 runners have been scratched. Both 1 and 2 are out of the race, leaves us with a field of 7. The revised morning line favorite, one of those first-time starters from the Bob Baffert bar, number 5, Stavros, is now 2 to 1 on John White's revised morning line. Abel Cedillo in the saddle. Of course, a number of our jockeys, Humberto Rispoli, Juan Hernandez, Ramon Vasquez back at Churchill Downs to ride. This still looks to be a good race. How do you kind of evaluate first-time starters? Do you look at their pedigree? Do you look at their workouts? Do you kind of all of the above? It's always tricky evaluating first-time starters, Chucky.
It is, and this one was a tough one because some of the things I look at, they all had. You know, I look at maybe a little different things on the turf. I look at the breeding more on that, especially on the maidens and first timers who only had 1 race. And I have to credit my son Charlie.
He's a good handicapper. You taught him well.
Yes, but he's a better turf handicapper, and he knows some of the sires better than I do, and he's given me kind of a list of who to look at. This isn't a turf race, but I just thought I'd throw that out there because you know they have the turf numbers in there, but sometimes those are not always accurate, and you know the broodmare sire is a big thing that I look at. And certain sires do well.
And excuse me for interrupting, Chucky. One of the things is that list that you talk about of sires, whether it's for the main track or the turf, it's always evolving. There's new sires coming into the cycle, so it's not like you could just put that list away and basically call it a day. You have to update it continuously, and I know you and your son do.
Yeah, he does. So I take his work and I use it, and it's gotten me some good price winners.
All right. Well, we know this isn't a turf race, but it's a main track race. Talk to us about race 6.
Yeah. So this race, you know, I look at the purchase price versus the stud fee, and you know, if they're paying multiple times the stud fee, the horse, you know, probably looked decent when they were buying it. But we've got so many of them, high price, well bred in this race. It was tough to come up with a winner, but I'm here in the handicapping seminar. I've got to pick a winner somewhere. So where did I go? I think I wound up on the 8.
Del Mar Jerry. Of course you did. You used to have a home in Del Mar.
Yeah. They paid 28 times the stud fee for this horse. Good works, although you could say that about 5 others in here. McCarthy has decent stats, first timers. You know, Baffert is the one that's got the good first times, and one of his is out, but the other one is in. But, you know, you can make cases on workouts for a bunch of these. I like horses working out of the gate in a minute out of the gate. That seems to show that a horse has talent. A couple of those have that. There's a 59 out of the gate, a minute flat out of the gate on another one, but trying to get a little bit of value. I'll go with the old guy DeSormo. And
careful what you say. There's a lot of senior citizens in the jocks room these days.
I'm older than you, Keith.
Del Mar Jerry, number 8, is Chuck's top selection. And your second selection, number 7, Mohawk Sun. Take a look at that stud V versus purchase price multiple. $10,000 stud fee purchased for $500,000. That's a 50-time multiple. That's very, very rare to see. And as you mentioned, this daughter of Karakanite certainly must have been a grand looker at Keeneland back in September.
Yeah, and actually that one, I'd love to see this one on the turf at some point because Bernstein, as the sire of the sire, is one on my list, and Spicetown is a good turf horse. So I think that one's going to like the turf.
Race number 7 is off the turf course. We're sprinting 6.5 furlongs on the main track. It's a starter allowance race. We've got 4 scratches here. So if you have your pen handy, take note of the following runners will not compete in race 7. 1579. 1579 have all been declared out of the race. That leaves us with a field of 5. Number 2, Donsick is now 4-5 on the morning line. Talk to us about race 7, Chucky.
Originally, my top pick was the 5, one of the scratches. He seemed to have consistent buyers, but so I had to switch. Actually, looking back at it, I didn't really like my second choice, so I picked another first choice, trying to get a little value, and went with the 4. No particular great reason. Just wanted a little bit of a price, and Gutierrez has been on that horse before. It's got to win with it, so. I settled on the 4.
Fair enough. And, once we come off the turf and we have the scratches, it obviously changes a lot of different things. And you're under the gun trying to come up with selections because we have to put them in advance in order for us to display it on the TV graphic purposes. So sometimes these days when we come off the turf can be tough on our on-track seminar guest, and certainly Chuck Baldini up to this point has done a great job. Race number 8 begins the $1 Golden Hour pick 4. That links our last 2 races here with the last 2 races at Golden Gate. Always pays well because it's got a higher minimum and a lower takeout. Race 8 is where it starts. It's 1 mile on the main track for Calbred fillies and mares. Allowance optional claiming types, non-winners of 1 other than. Number 4, Rose Harbor, trained by one of the senior citizens ridden by one of the senior citizens in the jocks room. Mike Smith is the 5-2 morning line favorite. We can pick on the old guys because we're 2 old guys ourselves.
Yes, we can. Yeah.
I
like Mike Smith. He's won a lot of money for me over the years. He doesn't ride a lot. So the horses he gets on, I think, are live.
He's selective in his choices. Let's say that, right?
Yes. So I put him actually as my second choice. My first choice was the 1 horse. Seems to be coming up to a race. Third race off a little bit of a layoff. Buyers improved the second time. Expect maybe the buyers to move up again. He's got 2 wins, but both at Los Al, so that might be a negative. But I still like him as my top choice.
One additional comment on Chuck's second selection, number 4, Rose Harbor. Back on March 17th, you can see Rose Harbor finish second by a nose. What you don't see, or what you kind of see, is Eleuthera's name. The 3rd place finisher is italicized. Well, she came back to win this past weekend. She earned a buyer speed figure of 77, albeit on the turf course. My long-winded point is you can see she's got a good improving buyer speed figure pattern. Maybe that 71 she earned last time out, losing by a nose, was perhaps understated. If it was based upon Eleuthera's 77 buyer speed figure, then suddenly you have a very dynamic and strong contender in race number 8. We close out the day in race number 9, which offers $5 Golden Hour daily double wagering. Similar concept to the Golden Hour pick 4, linking our last race here with the last race at Golden Gate. We're going 6.5 furlongs on the main track, again off the turf. Main special weight Calbred fillies and mares. Following runners have been declared out of the race. 1 and 7 have been declared out of the race. That means the 2 also eligibles, 10 and 11, will compete and did draw into the race. Number 9, Magic Game from the Crueljack barn, is the 5-2 morning line favorite. A lot of different ways you can go here in the nightcap, Chuck. Which way you going?
I'm going to go with the 2 horse.
Organic.
Organic, yeah. Coming off a layoff, had 2 races as a 2-year-old. I like that. That would give it a good foundation coming into this 3-year-old year. A little bit of a value play too. I didn't realize the alsos were going to get in. I didn't look at them.
Kind of like Rich Strike in the Derby last year.
Yeah. But taking a quick look at them, I wouldn't have picked either of those. So I still like my 2. And I went with the 5 horse as my second choice. He's got that new jock, which I don't know a lot about, but I think he's got a couple of wins. So yeah, that'll be a good exacta 2-5.
2 and 5 to wrap it up. So says our seminar guest today, Chuck Baldini. Chuck, telling your story from 1997 never gets old. I'm glad we could share it with our simulcast audience today. Congratulations, not only on the parlay that you achieved, but also raising 3 beautiful children and putting them through college as a result of winning a few bucks at the races. It's been our pleasure to have you as our guest today. Enjoy the Oaks Day, and I know you'll be playing Kentucky Derby Day as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tom.
Thanks to all of you for watching as well. Hope you enjoyed it. Keep in mind, tomorrow, first post, 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. We've got 11 races here at the Great Race Place on Kentucky Derby Day.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park. The track is fast. We're off the turf today. Several scratches on the card. If you'll get your pens and programs out, here are the changes. The first race starts the early pick 5. Off the turf, no high 5, no show wagering. Scratch 1, Peppermint Flirt. Scratch 2, Slam Diego. Scratch 3, Violet Storm. 1, 2, and 3 are out. Number 4, Classy Mademoiselle. 1 pound over. Off the turf, there's a new morning line. In the second, there's a super high 5 carryover from last week of $6,545. No changes in race 2. In the third, off the turf, main track, no high 5 wagering. Scratch 7, Too Much Heaven. Turning to the fourth, Rainbow Pick 6, $277,000 in the jackpot carryover. No changes. The fifth on the main track, it's the Corey Nakatani Hall of Fame purse, celebrating Corey Nakatani being named to the Hall of Fame. Late pick 5 starts with no changes. Race 6, scratch 1 True Hood, scratch 2 Midnight Fury, 1 and 2 are out. New overweight, number 8 Delmar Jerry, 2 pounds over. There is a revised morning line turned in by oddsmaker John White. In the 7th, off the turf, to be run on the main track, scratch 1 Thunderheart, scratch 5 Inch, scratch 7 Westward Look, scratch 9 Crew Dragon. 1, 5, 7, and 9 are out. Lots of work for our oddsmaker John White, a revised morning line issued for the 7th. 8th race starts the Golden Hour Pick 4, combining the last 2 races from Santa Anita Park with the last 2 from Golden Gate Fields. No changes. 9th off the turf, scratch 1 Miss Moab, scratch 7 Warrior Lady. Note that both 10 and 11 now draw into the main track event and will run the Golden Hour double, starts with the 9th. Enjoy your day at the Great Race Place. 24 minutes to post for race number 1. Get out here early tomorrow as we have simulcast action and a great day of racing, including the entire simulcast from Churchill Downs. More about the parties and other options tomorrow. They'll be at the gate for our first race in 24 minutes. Thanks for coming out.